Welcome to Quality Time with MoreSteam. I am your host, Dan Swerdout. I'm really excited to bring this episode to you today because on this episode, we are exploring the practical side of Lean Six Sigma with a focus on successful program implementation. Today's guest is Meredith Brody from Constellation. And at Constellation, Meredith has helped develop and implement a Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt program. It's called the Embedded Lean Practitioner Program, and it has been a big success. On today's show, Meredith will be sharing lots of valuable insights into why the program works so well. This episode is perfect for anyone interested in starting or refining their own Lean Six Sigma training programs. Plus, the conversation with Meredith is a lot of fun. I know you're going to enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. I'm excited to bring it to you. And now, my conversation with Meredith Brody. Today, we are so lucky to be joined by Meredith Brody. Meredith is the Principal Project Manager at Constellation Energy. Meredith, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
We are so excited to have you here today, and we're going to talk quite a bit about the Yellow Belt program that you have there at Constellation. But before we do that, I wanted to ask a few questions about you. You're in the Chicago area right now, and you grew up in Illinois, correct?
That is correct. I grew up about 2 hours outside of Chicago.
And you went to Sterling High School in Sterling, Illinois, where you were on the tennis team and you were academic All-North Central Illinois Conference first team in tennis. And what else did you do in high school?
Yes, thank you. It was a fun memory, walk down memory lane, you mentioning that. Very active in sports and in clubs, and really enjoyed my time growing up in the Sterling community. I played basketball, trying to think what else. But was really did well academically and was excited to head on to University of Illinois in Champaign after I completed my time at Sterling High School.
Did you play basketball all the way through high school? Because my daughter's on the 7th grade team right now.
Fun. I wrapped up my basketball career at Sterling High School after my sophomore year so I could focus on tennis. But I'm kind of reliving it again with my 6th grader who's also in basketball.
Oh, fantastic. 6th grade travel?
Travel basketball starts this week.
Oh, that's a lot of fun. And we had a great time the last 2 years in travel basketball and super excited. My daughter's first game is coming up in 2 days. So we're very excited about that. One thing I wanted to ask about is when you were at Illinois, you were in the Alpha Kappa Psi business fraternity.
Yes.
I don't know exactly, and maybe a lot of people don't know exactly what a business fraternity is. It's certainly different than what you'd expect from the movies when you think of fraternities. Am I right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's very social still. But what is really neat about joining a business fraternity is you're typically joining with other folks who are working through getting some sort of business degree. So we had lots of social, as you can imagine, in college, but also there were a lot of events centered around business. We got to hear speakers come in from different companies, recruiting folks out of Alpha Kappa Psi and out of the university. So it was a great opportunity to start networking in those business networks early, in college before kicking off your career.
So you got your undergrad in finance at the University of Illinois. You got your MBA in finance at DePaul.
Yes.
Obviously very Illinois. What made you choose first the University of Illinois and then DePaul? Anything stood out about those when you were selecting universities?
Well, as far as the University of Illinois goes, I had family members who went there, and I was laser focused on going there from early on. When I was a child, my parents took me down to see football games. We would go see the Fighting Illini play from my earliest memories, and loved the campus. And I always knew I wanted to do something in business, and they have an excellent college of business there. So that is how I ended up at Illinois. It was pretty much Illinois or bust. And loved my time there, made lots of great friends. I learned a lot. It was an excellent experience. And then a few years later, after I started my career, I moved to Chicago upon graduation. Got started in my career in telecom, actually, my first 2 years out of college, and then moved into the energy industry and have been there till this day. But early on, I knew I wanted to get my MBA. And so I got a few years of real world experience, and I really liked DePaul's part-time program. Was flexible to me, so I could work all day and then just walk down the street, down Michigan Avenue to Jackson on over and attend their College of Business in the evening. So I did that for about 3 years and graduated.
Even those of us who haven't spent a lot of time in Chicago are definitely familiar with the streets you just named. Those are big time streets in the United States of America.
They sure are. And lots of great stuff happening on them, and particularly this time of year now that we're hitting the holiday season.
So you've been with Constellation since about 2007, correct?
I actually came over in 2000. Well, I started my career in the energy industry in 2002, and I came to Constellation after a few acquisitions along the way.
So you've been there for quite some time, and now you are the principal project manager. And like I said at the beginning, I wanted to talk a lot about implementing your Yellow Belt program there at the company. Can you take us back to the inception of the Yellow Belt program at Constellation? Were you involved from the start? And what were the initial goals behind launching the Yellow Belt program?
Yeah, absolutely. The Yellow Belt program, which we call the Embedded Lean Practitioner Program at Constellation, it is my passion, and I have been involved from the very beginning. So, in my former company, so as I mentioned, I came to Constellation via an acquisition deal back in 2014, 2015 timeframe. So, in my former company, energy company, pre Constellation, we had a lean practitioner program, of which several of us completed an internal Lean Six Sigma Black Belt certification program. And this was led by a master black belt and mentor of mine who was heavily influential to me early in my career in process improvement. And so by the time I arrived at Constellation, they did not have a practitioner program. So after being heavily involved in the acquisition and transformation activities, I, along with a few of my colleagues, set out to brainstorm and design and develop a program, which we call the Embedded Lean Practitioner Program. And in this Embedded Lean Practitioner Program, we run through a recruitment selection process annually to select individuals from all over our commercial business to participate. And one big aspect of their development is to obtain their Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt certifications. So we started working closely with MoreSteam back in around the 2017 time period to learn more about MoreSteam's Lean Six Sigma training products and services. And in 2018, we launched our first embedded lean practitioner class.
Did you do any Lean Six Sigma work back in college, or was this all introduced to you through work?
This was all introduced to me through work. I really started my career in corporate finance. And, after a few years, I was really interested in project work. And because of this mentor that I had way back in my early days in my career, I got really excited about process improvement. And that's really what led me to obtaining my certification and leading projects and helping others to problem solve.
And what were some of the key challenges or considerations when designing a Yellow Belt program for your company? How did you ensure that the program aligned with the needs of your company and industry?
Absolutely. From the get-go, we wanted to ensure that we had good alignment and sponsorship of this program with our leaders at Constellation. So we did some piloting. We piloted some process improvement work using Lean and Six Sigma. We shared those stories and results with our senior leaders. We knew that there were leaders that were less familiar with Lean and Six Sigma. And so I would say it was not necessarily a challenge, but an awesome opportunity to share the benefit of what this methodology could do to become more operationally efficient. So we asked a few of our leaders who were part of that acquisition that I mentioned previously to share their experience and share their support with their peer senior leadership. And it all boiled down really to having the buy in from our senior leadership and their active and visible sponsorship in supporting the program and encouraging participation in their program within their own organizations.
Now, obviously, there's been a lot of changes since
Mhm.
2017. How has the Yellow Belt program evolved over time, especially in light of COVID, post-COVID changes? Have you
Yes.
had to adapt any elements of the program to accommodate remote work or other new business realities?
Yeah, that is a great question. We are always looking for ways to innovate on the program and apply lessons learned based on the feedback of our Yellow Belt practitioners or our own direct experience between myself and my two colleagues who manage this program. I would say early on, we learned that we needed to stagger the training from the project work. So, just a little background for you. With our Yellow Belt program, it is a 20% of time program with a 15-month commitment. And so our practitioners are still have their day-to-day roles and they're contributing 20% of their time to becoming a Yellow Belt and leading projects. And overlapping the training from the Yellow Belt work with project work far surpassed that 20% time commitment. So that was a lesson learned early on to stagger that. We also learned early on it was best to host one cohort a year. So we are now in our eighth cohort versus managing two cohorts, which onboarded within 6 months of each other. And that was something we tried in our first two classes. As one cohort onboards, the prior cohort is working to finish up their required second projects. By allowing us to have one cohort a year, this lets my colleagues and I primarily focus on coaching one cohort at a time. And you also mentioned COVID. I know that is something we've all had to deal with.
Right.
Um, I will have to say, we have numerous Constellation offices around the country. So even prior to COVID, we were already adept at working in a virtual environment with our colleagues. So when COVID hit, there is not much that we needed to do to adapt our program to fully virtual since we were mostly virtual. The two things we did have to adapt were the two in person components that we have with our program. We have an onboarding component and a training capstone component of our program that is in person. That capstone, I'm sure we'll talk about more, but we utilize MoreSteam's Zombie Hunter process simulation.
That's a
Um,
fun one.
it's fun. We love it. Can't wait. We're doing it again in January, by the way. But we use that to put into practice DMAIC training for our practitioners. So when COVID hit, we adapted those in-person components to virtual, and MoreSteam was a really great partner to us to, talk about, how we could adapt that to being fully virtual. And we worked closely with MoreSteam on our agendas and our approach and tactics for that.
I think one of the things that I've learned most about process improvement, continuous improvement, is listening and adjusting, responding to feedback. What improvements or changes have been made to your program based on the feedback from participants in the program or some changes in organizational needs?
Oh, absolutely. I would have to say one of the biggest things that we have adjusted, and we saw this with participation from our practitioners, is finding that sweet spot for our cohort size. We've experimented with cohort sizes anywhere from 9 to 28 people. However, through experimenting with different cohort sizes, we have found that the max size is about 9 to 12 or 3 to 4 practitioners to one coach. So currently my team is 3 people, including me. So our max cohort size would be 12. Any bigger than that would really dilute the experience for our participants and really would, I think, dilute our coaching of those practitioners. But a few of the other things, we've gotten really great feedback and response from our practitioners is we've incorporated an alumni mentoring program.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
it's something we implemented 2 cohorts ago. Our practitioners are regularly coached by myself and my 2 colleagues, but we have also matched a recent alumni of our program with a current practitioner yellow belt in our program. And they will meet maybe every 2 to 3 weeks. And they will just talk about some of the experiences that they had recently had in the program. And it provides that unique experience for those who are currently in the program to hear some lessons learned and perspectives from those who just came before them. And we strategically match up our alumni with our practitioners and great feedback and response. And something more recent we implemented is streamlining our recruitment and selection process for our cohorts. My colleagues work to institute some processes to streamline applicant intake, screening, and our overall communications processes. And also, we've instituted panel interviews of our applicants, whereas up to this most recent cohort, it was one-on-one interviewing. So we're always looking to innovate, streamline, practice what we preach and grow.
I bet that alumni component you just mentioned, I bet that really helps people feel more engaged and attached to the program.
It absolutely does. And it benefits both sides. It obviously benefits the current yellow belt practitioner candidate who is in the program and they are learning and just trying to grab as many perspectives as possible as they're developing, but also for our alumni who are matched up in this mentor program. I think there's something to be said about just revisiting recent experiences and reflecting on them and learning lessons and just thinking about how they would have done something differently or maybe how something worked really well and they can't wait to use it again in their day to day.
Now, you had mentioned just a few moments ago about using the zombie hunter
Mhm.
simulation. You also use inbox simulation.
Yes.
The inbox simulation from MoreSteam is part of the Yellow Belt training. Could you share how this idea came about and why it was important to integrate inbox into your program?
Absolutely. Another goal of our Lean Six Sigma program at Constellation was to just raise awareness to our commercial employees on some basic lean concepts because we have numerous projects ongoing at any given time all over the organization. And we wanted to bring a development opportunity for those who cannot commit 20% of their time over 15 months. We frame up the use of Inbox as a 1 day workshop to learn some basic tools that Constellation finds valuable. And what has been great is we've worked with MoreSteam to tailor Inbox and the tools that are used and brought forth in that process simulation to our audience so that they are seeing some of our favorite tools that we regularly use or that our practitioners regularly use. And so they're getting a little bit of experience with those and understanding what those are. And some of those are basic tools like process mapping or problem statement development or identifying those 8 elements of waste. And if our employees can hear these things over and over, whether it's in project work or maybe this inbox workshop that we call Lean Concepts Awareness, it just helps raise that practice and development a little bit more.
I didn't know whether to ask this question before the last question or the last question before this question because some of our listeners obviously know what inbox is, but a lot of them don't. So could you kind of explain what is inbox and how does inbox help participants better understand lean principles?
Yeah, absolutely. I highly recommend checking out Inbox. So, Inbox is a process simulation experience. that takes a fictional chain of coffee shops called Sigma Brew
I
and the
have a Sigma Brew t-shirt, by the way. I've
oh,
got a Sigma Brew
I
t-shirt.
love it. Awesome. I probably have some great merch at somewhere around here too that I've picked up over the years. The participants in the workshop worked to solve the problem of not opening enough stores fast enough to keep up with the rapid growth of Sigma Brew. So, this process simulation uses a set of transactions and assigned roles to participants to examine waste in the process and examine metrics as the process is run. And there is a facilitator that helps the participants work through streamlining the process using several lean tools. So, there is a lot of great interaction and collaboration, and the simulation's very hands on, which is why we always receive excellent post workshop feedback on the attendees' experiences.
Do you play Inbox multiple times with people playing multiple roles? How does that work?
Yes, it is possible. We have run multiple instances of Inbox at one time, and from there we have some great facilitation. A shout out to Joe Tanner, who's really led most of our Inbox workshops.
Joe's
Um,
great. Joe's
yeah,
great. I love hearing him
fantastic.
talk. I
Me,
feel smarter just being
us
in the same room with him.
Same here. Absolutely. Huge shout out to Joe here. And so there's really about, I think, anywhere 12 to 15 can participate in one instance, and there are individual roles. I think typically once you start the simulation, you're in that role. You're given a list of instructions and you're running through this process simulation. And then there's multiple runs and you're collaborating to try to streamline that process. I don't think you're typically switching different roles, although maybe there is a possibility of removing a role or two if that is what the team deems as necessary for streamlining. But what's great about this is we've run it both virtually and in person, and it can be adapted to whatever the needs are of the company.
What do you think have been some of the most valuable aspects of using Inbox in your program? Have you seen any shifts in engagement or understanding because of the use of Inbox?
Yeah, what is exciting is we've hit a lot of people and employees across our commercial organization with Inbox. I have heard a few stories of folks through just their exposure to Inbox have worked with their teams to map a process, which is incredibly exciting. One of our other goals with Inbox is, as I mentioned before, getting folks familiar with some of these tools. So it is really exciting and value add to our yellow belt practitioners or to my colleagues or me when we're leading process improvement projects. If there are folks who've had a little exposure to these tools through Inbox, they're just really engaged project team members because they're familiar with a process map or they're familiar with the SIPOC. And so I would absolutely say that it's our way of chipping away little by little of folks hearing about process improvement in multiple forums and multiple ways. And Inbox is one of those forums.
Obviously, you've had multiple cohorts, multiple years of the program. It's been a success, no question. How do you communicate the return on investment of your program to senior leadership and other stakeholders within the organization?
Absolutely. We do a lot of messaging throughout the year. We meet on a quarterly basis with our Commercial Process Improvement Council, which is akin to a steering committee. It's composed of senior VPs and VPs in the commercial organization, of which all have current or alumni yellow belt practitioners in their organizations. So we meet with them and we are sharing stories quarterly. We are sharing our metrics. We always have a year in review where we're sharing the successes, we're sharing those cost savings dollars. And it is our goal to continue to message. We started in the beginning and we are continuing to do it today and we'll continue in the future of just continuing to message the importance of the program and the value of the program. As far as some of the metrics, we track and share, obviously we track and share our estimated dollar benefits of projects and estimated cost savings of projects. We have a number of metrics around our Embedded Lean Practitioner Program that we regularly track that are meaningful to us, such as program completion, certification completion, project completion metrics. We're also tracking things along the lines of number of employees trained through, whether it's our Yellow Belt program or Inbox, or we've used Gridlock a few times, another process simulation. So through Gridlock, or we have a few other internal lean, 1 hour development sharing as well. So we're always
Right.
tracking, that. And also, we're tracking the utilization of our Yellow Belt program alumni in their post-program commitment efforts as well. So lots to track and a lot of great success stories to share.
That is fantastic. And I just thought I'd jump in now to say that through the magic of post-production, only Meredith and I will know how much trouble I've had saying cohort today during the podcast. Just the two of us will know that.
Sounds good.
Uh, and how do you promote the Yellow Belt program internally to encourage participation across different teams or departments? And what strategies have been most effective in getting employees excited about joining the program?
Yeah, absolutely. From the beginning and through now and going forward, we use great change management principles. So we are trying and working to promote our program in many forums throughout the year. On a monthly basis, we spotlight a Yellow Belt practitioner and their project work in a
Oh, that's
call
great.
that's attended. Yeah, it's attended by over 300 people in our commercial business. It's usually even way more than that, lots of leaders. And this is a way for us to share a story of the outstanding work that our Yellow Belt practitioners are accomplishing with their project teams. Also, at the start of our recruitment and selection process every summer, we ask our senior leadership to cascade information about the program and the next round of selection. And we also ask them to put in a few of their own insights to encourage folks to apply to our program. And we also ask for nominees from our leaders of folks who may be good candidates for our program as well. We definitely use our networks. We reach out directly via our own networks to those who've previously applied but who were not selected, or for those in our networks who may have never applied who we think would be a great candidate. And going to be honest here, our practitioners, our Yellow Belt practitioners in our current cohort are some of our best advertising and promotion.
Right.
They're doing an excellent job of leading projects all around the year with many project team members. And these team members have learned about the program through this project work, and then they will go on to apply for the program when our selection process opens up.
That sounds like some outstanding work that you are doing. I'm really excited that you joined us because I imagine there are a lot of people listening who want to start a program like this, but it's a huge undertaking. So to get these kinds of insights has been fantastic. Now, Meredith, in your experience, what do you think motivates employees to get involved with Lean Six Sigma training? And how do you ensure that individuals see personal value in completing the training?
I would say we interview and select our yellow belts through an interview process, and they're all highly self motivated and they truly care about the work they're doing and helping their organizations to become operationally efficient. So they all come and talk to us, when we ask why this program. They are interested in obviously developing themselves in their careers, and they've moved on. Many have moved on to have leadership roles after being part of this program. So their development is a huge motivator, but they're also truly interested in helping their stakeholders to problem solve. They are all seeing areas where there is need for process improvement. We know there's no shortage of opportunities in any company for process improvement. And
Right.
they absolutely want to roll up their sleeves and help others problem solve and get involved. So that is another aspect of, this whole idea of self-motivation with our practitioners. But overall, they talk about their personal sense of growth and the amazing opportunity they had in networking with others in the company as they're exiting their 15-month commitment. We hear a lot of those sentiments and could not agree more. Great networking with others who they may never have crossed paths with. And then obviously great networking with senior leadership in our company and great exposure to our leadership as well. So overall, our program has built a strong reputation. And because of that, it brings that accountability to the participants to see their commitment through to the end.
At this very moment, I have to see my commitment through to the end. And my commitment right now is to bring you this short break. MoreSteam's enterprise process improvement platform includes the tools, training, and software you need to transform your organization into a problem-solving powerhouse. Join the ranks of Fortune 500 companies that trust MoreSteam for their enterprise process improvement. Our integrated approach featuring training, project tracking and execution, simulations, and statistical analysis empowers your team to create a culture where structured problem-solving becomes second nature. Visit MoreSteam.com to learn more. And now back to my conversation with Meredith Brody from Constellation. That is phenomenal. Now, one of the things I like to do on the show, since I'm talking to a Lean Six Sigma black belt right now, I like to hear some of the things that maybe you implement some of these Lean principles in your personal life, around the house, volunteering, hobbies. Is there anything like that where you implement some of these Lean principles?
Oh my gosh, tons of them. I have had my husband ask, "You're not doing that Lean Six Sigma thing on me right now, are you?" um, Classic example, I have the kitchen designed in a certain way, so it's highly efficient for those utensils or those kitchen things I use the most. I have strict dishwasher organization with the forks, spoons, and knives going in their own compartments in the dishwasher. Another example I like to share, at one point in time, my youngest daughter, we found the best way to streamline when she was a lot younger, and getting up and out of the house in the morning was just putting her to bed in her clothes for the next day. We did not need that extra step of trying to figure out getting out those pajamas into her clothes. It was a lot easier just taking that step all the way out.
And Meredith, one thing we touched upon a little bit earlier is you went to Illinois. I
Yeah.
went to the Ohio State University,
Oh,
Big Ten, both Big Ten. Did you ever make a road trip as an undergrad to the Ohio State University?
not as an undergrad. That would have been an amazing experience, although it probably would have been a bloodbath of Illinois back at the time I was in college. But it was interesting. I did get to visit Ohio State University a few years back when MoreSteam was hosting some customer conferences there. So it was really cool to be able to step foot there on a Big
Yeah,
Ten campus.
I've been to Champaign once or twice. A really cool college town. I had a good time there.
So fun. I could not agree more. It was one of the best experiences of my life attending University of Illinois.
Meredith Brody of Constellation, thank you so much. Anything that we haven't touched upon that you'd like to add before we close out the show?
All I have to say, is we could not have this embedded lean practitioner program and Lean Six Sigma program without our partnership with MoreSteam. Every single person I talked to at MoreSteam, incredibly supportive, incredibly helpful in problem solving, our approaches, the use of tools, the facilitation. I want to give a shout out also to Amita Sherwood, who Constellation has hooked us up with our yellow belt onboarding and capstone and coaching there too. It's just
You're
been a
mentioning
pleasure.
some all-stars today,
I
Meredith. Some real
know.
all-stars.
They real all stars. I could not agree more. And when I've had the opportunity to meet with all the employees of MoreSteam, they're all stars. Just a fantastic organization to partner with and work with.
Well, Meredith Brody, thank you so much for joining us. This has been such a great conversation, and I think it will be very, very helpful to people looking to institute these types of programs. And I love that name, Embedded Lean Practitioner. I just love that name. How'd you come up with that name? I love it.
It was we were just kind of brainstorming on a whim of what this is. We knew we wanted to embed this practice in the organization. We knew these would be lean practitioners, and it just stuck. And we have a lot of acronyms in our business. And so when you mention the term ELP, Embedded Lean Practitioner Program, we all know who we're talking about. Our ELPs, who are yellow belts and held in high esteem with the excellent work they do.
Meredith, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being a part of the show, and hopefully you'll come and join us again sometime.
Oh, I would love to. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to Quality Time with MoreSteam. You can email the show at qualitytime@moresteam.com. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave a rating or review on your favorite podcast service. Also, please go ahead and visit our website, moresteam.com, to learn about the software and tools that can help you solve problems, eliminate waste, and do things better. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more Quality Time with MoreSteam. Thanks again.